guys,
welcome back to my channel. So today, as the title of the video states, we're going to be talking about 8 things we've learned in our 8 years of marriage. Now, we recently celebrated our 8th wedding anniversary. But marriage is not easy, and you know, there's so many things that we've learned, but we've narrowed it down to 8, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Obviously, it's a Valentine's Day. It should be Valentine's Day today if I've edited it and put it out in time. If being the key word. But yeah, it's Love Week, as they call it. So I just wanted to do something in relation to our relationship. So hope you enjoy this one. Stay tuned.
So I'll start off. The first thing that I have learned would be sacrifice. I think a big thing within marriage and just relationships in general is sacrificing something that you like or something you want or sometimes even need for the other person.
That's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think for me a key or a big example of this is kind of sacrificing time for each other. So we both worked full-time for a number of years, and then obviously when Samira had the kids, she went on maternity, etc.
Feels like I haven't worked full-time
for a long time. But yeah, it just took time. So, you know, I would go to work, you know, leave the house at whatever time, 7:30, 6 o'clock sometimes, get home past 6. And realistically, human nature, you want to just relax, you want to just sit down and pretty much do nothing. But I suppose the sacrifice element is that you have to make the time to do things that the other person likes. So whether it be going cinema, going restaurant.
And I love all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So just like that. And obviously since we've had kids as well, it's an even bigger thing now, because when you get home, you've got to have time for the kids, also time for the missus as well. So, yeah, for me, sacrifice is a big thing.
The second thing I would say is don't go to sleep on your wrath. Now, this is a teaching from the Bible, and I would say it's so true. I've been guilty of it many times. I hold my hands up, but I've learned that it's such a bad thing, because God says things for a reason. Like when you go to sleep on your wrath, you wake up angry or even angrier. And for me, I find it hard to pray if I know that I've got something, an issue with someone or something. So especially with, you know, Morgan, the closest person to me, I always want to make sure that we're good, so that I feel free to pray. I feel free to, you know, start my day well, basically.
It's always good to sort your differences as soon as possible.
But do you know what, it's hard.
Let it fester.
Yeah, he lets go of things like really easily, but me, I'm like, it's a bit harder for me. And I don't know if that's a man or woman thing, but I'm learning that it's key. It's one of the biggest things in our marriage.
Number 3, I think patience is a big thing, especially with her.
He's going for a lot, you know.
No, patience I think is a big thing, because especially for us, we got married very young, and so you come into marriage with a lot of immaturities and a lot of things that need to change. And some people change quicker than others in certain areas, and the other person will change quicker in other areas. So I think patience with the other person is vital, because if you don't practice that patience, you're just going to be constantly frustrated and constantly bickering over things that realistically just need a bit of patience. And so yeah, I can't really think of a specific example, but just general change. Like, you know, none of us were used to not living with our parents, well, not living together, and you know, loads of different things that all happened at once. And so patience was a key for us to adapt. And I think even up until today, even 8 years, there's still things that we're both, you know, as you grow older, you change in certain ways, and sometimes that change needs to be slightly adjusted and so forth. So yeah, I think patience is quite a big thing as well.
It's something that you constantly have to practice and implement in your relationship. Yeah, I think number 4.
Number 4.
I would say another big thing I've learned is communication. Miscommunication, I've learned, causes so much like arguments that can be prevented basically. And there's sometimes where you think you've made something clear and the person has interpreted it a completely different way. And there's so many times where Morgan will tell me that, babe, I told you that, and I'm like, no you didn't. This is the first time I'm hearing it, and this is like our biggest thing. Like, he's like, babe, I told you, and I'm like, babe, you didn't.
So I tell Samira something, and I can remember
where I told her, when I told her, how I told her. I can replay the whole scenario in my head, but Samira will be 100%.
No, you never told me. There's no way you told me.
You do it as well.
And so supposedly she does the same, where she tells me things. But see, the thing is with Samira, her communication sometimes, she will tell you half of something.
What do you mean?
So you'll kind of tell me, maybe for example, let's say she's going out on a Friday night. She'll say, oh babe, I'm
going out on Friday.
And I'll just kind of be like, oh yeah, okay, you know, fine. But there was a lot more to that story.
Like?
So Samira was going out
at a certain time, she had to be there a certain time. The kids were staying with me. Oh, by the way, the kids' food needs warming up.
And so there's a lot more to her story. And so, but yeah, no, communication is key, I think, in general. Yeah, it's key.
I think that's, yeah, it's true, I do that. But sometimes I just expect him to know certain things.
Yeah, because I'm a mind reader. And so...
No, because you take initiative, you just know certain things. But yeah, communication is a big one, because like I said, if we fail to communicate, we're constantly at war. So we have to make things clear. And I've even, to prevent things like this, I even recently bought a calendar and I'm like, babe, look, we have to write down when we're doing something.
But we haven't started using it.
I've started using it, he hasn't.
But yeah, no, communication also, I think another thing, sometimes, and this is going to sound very rude, but we've got so much technology to communicate that it can get misinterpreted. So like, sometimes Samira might text me something and I think it means one thing, but she meant something totally different. And so I do think face-to-face communication,
that's the best
or
way.
over the phone, but speaking rather
face-to-face is
messages
the best.
or email.
Like, read each other's face expressions.
Obviously when I'm busy, I tell her to drop me an email.
Who do you think you are? When it comes to communication as well, I am a very expressive person. Anyone that has a friendship or relationship with me will know that I like to communicate. I like to get things off my chest. I don't like to hold things in. And so I don't find it hard to communicate and tell him what I'm thinking, tell him what I'm feeling and things like that. For this guy, sometimes that's like, because he's the sort of guy that he just like, he is a talker, but he's very simple. He's very black and white. So he doesn't necessarily need to communicate for a lot. I think this is a man and woman thing again.
Yeah, I think so.
I talk a lot more.
Women talk a lot. And men just kind of like, look.
You're annoying me, or you're making me happy, or you're not making me happy.
Sorry, like, I'd be like, no, but babe, I felt like this, and I felt
Samira
like
likes to dissect and, you know, that.
No, but yeah, communication is very important.
Number 5. And I will say this one is for everyone, and this is literally any couple who's dating, married, is never stop dating. And so I think, and it kind of goes back to the time issue, as you get older and more responsibilities and kids, it is harder to still date your spouse or date your partner, like literally date, like go out on a date. But you kind of have to do that to keep the spark, I suppose we call it. But also just to keep that time for you, because you know, me personally, if I could, for every day of my life, I would just spend it at home. You know, Samira can be here, the kids can be here, but I'm at home. I love it. But I understand that sometimes you need to get the kids away, you need to come out of your familiar surroundings of the house.
Do something new.
And just, you know, just go on a date. And so, again, however many times you do that, that's totally up to you. But I think you've got to try and make it as regular as possible for you. So So yeah, I think that's quite a good point by me.
I would say, yeah, that is definitely key. And another aspect of that is obviously when you're dating, you're kind of getting to know the person, and being in a relationship for a number of years, I've learned that Morgan is the 18-year-old guy that I married is not the 18-year, is not.
I wasn't 18.
The 19-year-old guy that I married is not the same guy sitting next to me. So in our 8 years of marriage, I've had to never stop dating, in the sense that I've had to continuously get to know Morgan and get to know the things that, you know, sometimes
I realised that, oh, he never used to mind this, but now he does. Or, you know, he never used to be big on this, but now he's big on it.
And it's about constantly, you never stop getting to know your spouse, basically. And so yeah, that's a big one. So I'm gonna do number 6 and 7 together because they kind of link in. So number 6 is you cannot change your spouse, and this is something that I learned it very quickly, but I didn't register it, if that makes sense. So I knew that, oh my gosh, I want Morgan to be this way and he's not being that way, but I didn't really register. I kept, you know, trying to make him a certain way, and I would get so frustrated because it's not my job to try and change him. It's not something that I can try and focus on. I just need to practice being the best wife that I can be, and allow God to change him, and allow, you know, for him to grow and develop and mature in the way he's going to naturally. But that links with compromise. Now, compromise is definitely a big thing in any relationship, but in marriage, I think it really challenges you because you learn that you're very different very fast, and if you refuse to compromise, you'll literally be at war all the time. And in learning that you cannot change your spouse, you have to learn that you have to compromise, you have to adapt, you have to, you know, not always have things your way. Learn that if he likes things a certain way, I have to, unfortunately, I have to get used to that way of doing things. And it's not always a bad thing because, you know, like they say, opposites attract, and I think it's good because sometimes I can, for example, be too anxious or too worried about something, and Morgan's calming personality will it helps me, you know, to calm down and to relax and to not worry about certain things too much. So compromise and know that you can't change your spouse, and allow those differences to kind of shape your marriage, if that makes sense.
So this is number 8, and this is the final one. And
would you say this is the most important one?
I don't know if it's the most important. I think they're all quite important, but hopefully this one makes sense because yeah, you'll see. So I believe in marriage, and one thing I've learned is that sometimes you have to lose the battle to win the war.
Preach it.
And it sounds a bit weird, but if you look at let's take this a bit deep. If you look at like a scenario of war, you know, like real war, it's not every individual battle you have to win, like every tiny fight that you have to win the whole war. You may lose certain territories and blah 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 to win the actual war. And so I think you can bring that to marriage, because sometimes you might be having an argument or a disagreement and you might 100% think you're right. The other person might 100% think they're right. And so human nature, you just want to keep fighting until you win. But realistically, all you're doing is, as long as that carries on, is you're losing, because your marriage, which is the war, is just not being won. And so sometimes I think you have to lose those little battles, and not every time. Sometimes if you're 100% right and the other person is wrong, sometimes you will have to kind of stay your ground. But I think a lot of time it is about losing those little battles that kind of have an insignificant, especially as the man, to be honest, because firstly, women don't like saying sorry, like first, okay. They like to be you know, the one who, and not all the time, but you know, majority of the time. But also, I think a massive thing, and probably the main one, is a lot of the arguments or the disagreements you have, to me, they're so small, but to Samira,
they're normally quite big. Like, no, babe, you don't get it. It's the difference.
And I'll be spending time explaining and
You know, and for me, it's like, it's so small.
And so, if it is so small, why am I having to win that fight or that battle? But then ultimately, at the end of it, she's not going to be happy anyway. And so, what's the point, really? And so, yeah, I definitely think losing those smaller battles to win the bigger battle, which is the war, which is happiness in your marriage, happiness in your home, happiness in your family.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, you know, and so I think that's quite a big one, yeah.
And obviously the war is your marriage, in the sense that it's your marriage that you should be fighting for and not each other. So, yeah.
So, if you want to hire me for any motivational speeches,
You're so
I
extra.
can come and speak to you about battles and wars.
History teacher, like.
No, but seriously, please leave a thumbs up on this video. Leave a comment for any future videos you might want to see.
Wait, I keep getting comments about, guys, please do the hot wing challenge, and I'm like, guys, please, like, I'm scared.
See,
like,
I don't
I'm actually
mind
scared.
doing the hot wing
Maybe
challenge.
you will go red.
But
You will actually go
not
red.
only will I go red, I might die. So yeah, if you guys want to see me do the hot wing challenge, obviously leave some comments, and I'll have a genuine think about it. But yeah, as I said, please leave a like, please comment, please subscribe.
Subscribe, y'all. Oh wait, today's Valentine's Day, isn't it? So happy Valentine's Day. If you are at home, you can still enjoy and have fun. If you're a guy, maybe cook a meal for your wife. If you're going out, if you weren't planning to go out, go out. I know it's another day that, you know, society kind of takes your money for no reason, but any excuse today is good. So
And
yeah.
for those of you guys planning to propose today,
You're predictable.
don't do it. It's pathetic. Predictable. Everyone saw it coming. She knew what was going to happen.
The rose is ready.
It's just, you know. But for those of you who did propose on Valentine's Day at one stage,
Happy anniversary.
happy anniversary for the proposal. And I'm sure it was a brilliant time, and you know, you're happy that it all happened. No, but all jokes aside, guys, happy Valentine's Day. Spend it with the one that you love, or at least like.
At least,
At
like.
least like. Don't just go and take a side chick somewhere.
Come on, man.
Yeah?
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing, guys. Alright, peace out, guys.
Take care. You always wanted to do that, innit?
Always wanted to do that. You better edit that good, you know.
So I was looking for these two boys. I think their names are Hulk and Spider-Man. There they are!